Hello, everybody, and welcome to iReadit, bringing you your daily dose of the internet for Wednesday, November 29th, 2017. I am Michael Schwahn.
And I'm Nathan Wood.
And I'm Brian Charlebois.
And please remember, everyone, you can help support our show by going to patreon.com/dailyinternet. In addition, we do go live Monday through Thursday at 6 p.m. Alaska time on Facebook and YouTube. And, of course, if you got something you wanted to talk about, either find a way to send it to us. We are everywhere. Of course, you can also send it to our subreddit, which is our iRedditcast, or send it to us in an email, which is feedback.ireddit@gmail.com. How are you two gentlemen doing today?
Very good.
Yeah?
I've been dead most of the day.
Did you stay home again today, Nathan, or did you trudge through work?
No, I stayed home.
I stayed home.
Yeah, I definitely stayed home. I've been downstairs because it's really cold and it's nice.
Yeah, wrapped up in blankets, sleeping.
Yeah, it's pretty spot on. That's pretty much my entire day.
I feel like that's what you do every time I'm over. You're like, oh, I got this friggin', what are the name of those basket chairs called? The one that you guys got from us?
Oh, the Papasan thing.
Yeah, you'd be all like in the Papasan. You or Bryce, and it'd just be like...
Yeah, that broke.
Oh, yeah? Who'd you body slam into it?
My brother was sleeping on it, and he shifted, and it broke.
Oh, sadness.
Yeah.
Everybody, can you pronounce your
last...
last...
Go for the couch, man. It's much more comfortable on the couch.
Brian, can you pronounce your last name for me one more time?
Charlebois.
Charlebois. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah, that's perfect.
Oh, my God. I normally suck at this, but luckily I have somebody who keep it straight for me. Everybody, please welcome to the show Brian Charlebois. He is creating an app called Your Opinion. We'll be talking about it more later after we do the top 10 news topics. The focus of Your Opinion is an informal voting app. Brian, do you want to tell us just a little bit more about it at this point?
Well, the other day I was listening to your show, and you were talking about petitions and how they don't work. Well, this is a way to make that work.
Okay.
I'll get into that a little better later.
Okay. Well, in any case, we're going to go ahead and jump into the top 10 for everybody here. And, yeah, let's just do it. Let's do it to it. Presuming I can get everything to work properly, because that's always a chore.
10.
Fox News is now Trump news, ex-anchor says.
This is submitted by Plymouth 03 to Our Politics.
So a former Fox News host has basically said that Fox News has had to turn itself into the Trump News Network, which is normally not where you want to be in the media. You want to be against whoever's in charge because that's the media's job, is to bring the truth and criticism to everyone around them. But because of the way that the economy works and the way money works, and because Fox News is the only news organization that Donald Trump hasn't slammed, all of the Trump supporters have just started watching Fox News. And if they do normal journalism, which will end up being critical of the president, they will lose their audience, which means they will lose money.
I've got something to add there.
Yeah.
I have to inform you, I watch Fox News.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling there's quite a few people that do for the sheer comedy. So I hear that they're one of the highest rated shows now, and I really can't believe that strictly Fox News people, Trump supporters that are doing that. Now every other news organization is definitely monitoring them all day, every day. I find it very comical, watching these people dance around the different, tweets from Trump or what have you, or the sex scandal here lately with Moore, and Hannity is their one anchor that is still supporting Moore,
right? And
every other anchor, even on Fox, has taken the side of the women complaining about him, and they don't want to endorse him in any way. And Hannity is a lone guy at this point, and watching him squirm because he knows he's wrong, but feels like
he's too far into it.
Yeah, he's too far into it at this point, and that he wants a Republican elected. That's what it comes. That's what it comes down to entirely, and the same reason Trump's supporting him too. He knows it looks bad, but at the same time, they can't afford a Democrat winning that seat.
Well, yeah, and that's the same place that Kellyanne Conway was. Is they're like, you're okay with someone who has sexually assaulted women going into office, and her only response was that we want Republicans in office that will help push their tax plan through.
Yeah, well, we all have to admit and I am generally on the left side of things, and I would have voted for Hillary, but despite the fact that I really can't stand her, but we have to realize that I don't know. You have to. Tell me again what you just said a minute ago. I lost my train of thought.
Regarding Kellyanne Conway or Fox News?
What was Kellyanne said?
In response to being asked if she'd be okay with someone who has been who has had alleged sex assault charges brought against them, she said that.
What I wanted to say was that even people on the left have to realize that we let Bill Clinton go with the accusations that he had. And I think we all have to swallow a little bit of our own pride here, because we did not take the word of the women at that time.
Well, and even
it's easier for us to say it now because everybody's believing the women now, and I think that's fantastic, and feeling a lot more sympathetic to their side of things. But if a push came to shove, and I know this doesn't compare to a pedophile like Moore, but at the same time, we definitely would have tried, everybody on the left anyway, would have still elected him over the who was he running against?
Gore?
In the last time. Yeah. Al Gore. No.
You mean when Clinton ran?
What's that?
You mean when Clinton ran? Or
when Bill Clinton was running. Who was he against? His opponent?
I thought it was...
My point is, I'm sure that person didn't have a sex scandal behind him, but
Sure.
we would have still voted for Bill Clinton. And it's because party lines are party lines, and you just can't. You don't want the ideology of the other side taking power. And so,
Bob Dole.
unfortunately, we all get pushed into these positions where we have to elect people that we don't like. And there's a certain amount of Trump supporters, I think, that fall into that category, although not most of them. Most of them, I think, are very strongly supporting him. But, not liking some aspects of his life, but still voting for him because they'd rather get a conservative in.
And that's really the problem with the bipartisan system with the American government, is that it becomes so much less of who will do the best job, who's the better person, and more of who is in my party that can get done the things that we want to get done regardless of anything else.
Yeah, well, that is that way for the core people. But the swaying people that are in the middle, they are still swayable.
Yeah.
So they're the only ones you can really work with.
And more of them are becoming swayable, too.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. Unfortunately, multi-party systems don't work any better, though. We have a multi-party system here in Canada. It doesn't help to throw in another party, because you end up splitting the vote, and then actually you get a minority government all the time. Well, it's not a minority in the sense they win the majority, but they actually a minority of the population put them in.
Sure.
And so that happens here in Canada all the time.
The majority of the population is split in half, so the rest, all the people that are voting together are the people that get in. Yes.
For years, the Conservatives, we were liberal for a long time, long ago. The last long stretch was Conservative. And on the Liberal side, it was split between two Liberal parties. And so that made it so the Conservatives were able to maintain power for a long stretch there. And before that, though, the Conservatives were split, and there was an offshoot party on the Conservative side, and that kept them out of power for a long period of time until they merged.
I feel like that's where our Republican Party is going. I feel like our Republican Party is going to be split fairly soon.
I don't know if it'll actually split into separate parties, but they are starting to.
I don't know. They kind of did with the Tea Party at one point.
Yeah, they're still a relatively cohesive unit, but more and more Republicans are starting to fall away from the Republican agenda.
Yeah.
Anyway, I could go on forever, so we should probably move on.
Avengers: Infinity War official trailer.
This is submitted by Marzipan Rumpin to our Marvel Studios.
So, the first official trailer for the Avengers: Infinity War, which is going to be one of two movies that involve the finish of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, at least this current long arc that started back in 2008 with the first Iron Man. We've seen the first trailer for it, and did either of you watch it yet?
I have.
I don't have much to comment here. I've kind of lost it with the cartoon or comic book movies.
Sure.
It seems like that's all there is these days. And I was never big on video games, so I'm not your later topic. I'm not going to have much to say there either.
That's fine.
But when I was growing up, it was Spider-Man. So I was happy to watch the Spider-Man movies, Batman as well. But I don't get off into all these different genres that much.
Well, and like with this Infinity War trailer, like my biggest concern, like one is it looks pretty dark. Like I have a feeling a bunch of people are gonna die. But the actual thing that and I was concerned about it from the beginning when Infinity War started to be something that was talked about, was that there's so many characters that are from movies where they are the main characters. So going into this movie, and not even just like because it's an Avengers movie or anything like that, just in general, when you take 20 main characters from 20 different movies and try to put them into one movie that is supposed to be focused on all of them, I just don't it doesn't feel like you can achieve that realistically.
Yeah, Age of Ultron kind of had a problem with too many characters.
So did Civil War.
That's what killed the original Spider-Man trilogies. Like Spider-Man 3 wasn't very good because they kept adding too many people into it.
Well, and like Civil War had the same problem. There were so many characters, and they wanted to give all of the characters attention when you can't do that in the amount of time you have.
No, This is why comic book movies kind of make me sad, and it makes me feel like you really need to get into the comic book television show as well, because there's just too much fucking story for it to be set in an hour 30 or 2 hours 30. Like, you're not going to be able to touch everybody that has been in these movies with all of these with just this one movie.
Well, and
I guess that's kind of why they split it into two.
I guess. Well, I think they split it into two because it's going to be like the Infinity War and then afterwards, I think. I don't know. But the other thing is like, if they are a team, so like the first Avengers movie worked fine because it was focused on the Avengers as a unit. Guardians of the Galaxy worked really well because it's always about the Guardians as a unit. You think of it's 5 people making up one character. But I don't think that they can, we saw that didn't work when they even had a group of people making up 2 units, like in Age of Ultron or Civil War, and it's going to be even worse in Infinity War. Sure, the majority of people are going to be on one side, but there's so many of them.
Yeah, it almost feel like it's just going to be, cameos, just constant cameo after cameo.
Which I think will make it not great, but I mean they've done a decent job so far, so who knows? Maybe we'll be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, maybe. Here's hoping.
8.
A sharp decline for Jimmy Fallon's Tonight Show.
This is submitted by a Westfall to our television.
Yep, so he used to be the king of Tonight. Jimmy Fallon he's starting to lose to Stephen Colbert, and from what everyone can tell, it's because he doesn't slam on Trump every night.
It's right now. It's the hot thing to do.
Colbert criticizes the president every single night. He has a devoted...
I feel like he really dislikes the president.
Oh, he does. He has a devoted block of time to slamming Trump. Even Jimmy Kimmel is getting a lot of attention because he continues to speak out. But Jimmy Fallon hasn't. And so he's still doing well, but he is starting to no longer be the hotness every night.
Well, I really love Stephen Colbert. I've been watching him for a long, long time, pretty much from the beginning when he was on the Jon Stewart show there. Mm-hmm. And yes, I love him, but I think he's really going too far with the Trump thing as well. It does take up way too much airtime on a lot of shows. I can't. Have you guys seen the Comedy Channel these days?
No.
It's one show after another of Trump stuff.
Well, and I think what it is like same as going back to our first topic with Fox News of not slamming Trump and being not necessarily pro-Trump but not anti-Trump to retain their audience and their viewer base. I think it's a lot of the same thing with Colbert, is that you go where the audience is, you go where the money is. So Colbert is gaining tons and tons and tons of viewers by slamming Trump for 20 minutes every night, because
That's what really boosted the guy who replaced him.
Yeah, Trevor Noah at the Daily Show.
Really catapulted him.
And
yeah.
so, I mean, you go where the success is.
No, I understand that, but there is, you have to recognize that it's a trend, and trends only last so long. The Tonight Show is a forever thing. It's not going to end when Colbert leaves.
Right. This is
So
like the Daily Show didn't end when Stewart left.
They should be looking more long term and saying, yeah, we'll ride the trend, but we're not going to push it. We're not going to be the ones that go all the way over the top, because those people will lose face in the end. And I really wish that he would just tone it down slightly. I think he's just a little over the top with it.
Well,
yeah, they could definitely tone it back, but still stay topical.
Exactly. Yeah, they can still harp on Trump, but just tone it down a little bit and try to get on to some other forms of comedy a little more.
Well, and I feel like Colbert is taking it really far. He's kind of being like the left Alex Jones and the tons of emotion and outcry, whereas like Trevor Noah with The Daily Show, which I really like Trevor Noah. I was concerned that Jon Stewart was leaving, but The Daily Show has survived quite well because Trevor Noah is really good at what he does, and they don't have the explosiveness that Colbert does on his show. He is more about like, this is what happened, I'm going to make some jokes about it, and we'll move on.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Also,
I do like him, yeah.
Interesting thing is, like, so they present the number of nightly viewers on average for the shows. This is only looking at The Tonight Show and Jimmy Fallon. And each show is rolling around 2.5 to 3 million viewers a night, which I expected that to be more.
Nah, not with cable, and not with TV dying in general.
Like,
and are they counting all views everywhere? Because these days it's YouTube, it's everywhere else.
Do they put their full shows on YouTube?
No, they put their clip game is real strong.
They put clips on. Okay.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know.
And anywhere from 5 to 15 minute clips of them going off.
Sure. About that topic, essentially.
Yeah, usually not 15 minutes because it's like half of their showtime.
Yeah.
7.
Parents now spend twice as much time with their children as 50 years ago.
This was submitted by Tersis Lil to Our Uplifting News.
That is on average, and it is looking at the 10 richest countries, 10 of the richest countries: Britain, Canada, France, Germany, Denmark, Italy, Netherlands, Slovenia, Spain, and the United States. Looking at the amount of time spent from 1950 to today. And the amount doubling is on average. Mothers, where they would spend around like 56 minutes with their children each day in the 1950s, are now spending normally around 100 minutes. And fathers in the 1950s would spend on average 16 minutes a day with their children.
Oh my God.
Yeah, right. And are now spending around 56 minutes. So the men got up today to where the women were 50 years ago.
Yeah, let's keep upping those numbers, dude.
Those are rookie numbers. Get those numbers out.
Yeah, you need to be better father.
Yeah, well, things are definitely improving in that way. I'm 52, so I remember what it was like, and it's definitely a big change.
How involved are you guys with your parents now?
Now?
Yeah.
I mean, I go to my family's house for lunch, and any day that my mom has off, I get to see her for an hour for that day while I'm there at lunch. Beyond that time, I don't see her very often, at all.
Unfortunately, my parents are snowbirds, and they're down south right now in Arizona.
I cannot blame them.
Yeah, and anyway, I feel guilty right now because I should be calling her. I haven't talked to her in about 2 weeks, I think, at least, so should get on that.
And how about yourself, Nathan? You asked the question. Your turn.
That's fair. My mother usually calls me either once a day or once every other day. We'll have a small conversation. And then me and my father will sometimes have conversations. And when he calls, it's generally about an hour-long conversation.
I forget that my father exists, so...
And then I go out and hang out with them most major holidays, like Thanksgiving, Christmas, my birthday even.
Cool.
6.
CNN to boycott White House Christmas party.
This was submitted by Jandis to Our Politics. What are these fucking names today?
So a CNN spokesperson... Oh, go ahead.
Were they invited? Were they invited?
Yes, they were invited. CNN will not be attending this year's White House Christmas party in light of the president's continued attacks on freedom of the press and CNN. We do not feel it is appropriate to celebrate with him as his invited guests. We will still send a White House reporting team to the event and report on it if news warrants.
It's like talking shit about somebody behind their back and then inviting them to your birthday.
Yeah, it's not even behind their back, actually.
Yeah, it's pretty much to their face, even.
It's standing on a podium with a foghorn going, "Hey, you guys suck." By the way, you guys want to come over for dinner tomorrow? Like,
I mean, I would, because like free dinner is free dinner. But...
You all fucking shit at your jobs, and I hope you all get fired. By the way, I got food. Like.
Well, I have a lot of complaints about CNN News these days myself. They just harp on Trump way too much these days too.
Again, I mean, it just goes into where the money's at.
The other day, a couple of days ago, they were talking about how he had put up fake Time magazine covers at all his golf resorts or club rooms. Yeah, so that's funny, and that's a newsworthy story. That's a great story. They filled up an hour show that I watched, and it looked like the next show was all about it too. That's ridiculous.
That's a little too much, yeah.
Yeah, they got a panel come on, 3 people, and you discuss it for the entire time for an hour.
You know,
that's ridiculous.
They should start just getting their stories. They should start looking at Reddit for news, because you get to talk about.
No, they're gonna put us out of a job.
You get to talk about some of the strangest stuff. We're gonna be talking about glitter later and how it's destroying the planet.
I mean, it is, but.
5.
North Korea fires ballistic missile.
This was submitted by Free as a Bead 1 to Our World News.
So this link goes to like absolutely nothing, and I forgot to change the link, so I apologize for anyone who wanted to read the article if you do that. Anyway, North Korea tested a new missile, and it's a problem. And the reason being is that this missile went higher than any of their other missiles and went farther than their other missiles. It went 2,600 miles into space, re-entered successfully, and landed 5,200 miles away from North Korea. Now, that's only on the other side of Japan, and while that isn't that far, the problem is that if it followed a normal missile trajectory, it could have made it anywhere on the planet.
Ooh. That's kind of scary.
Yeah, that's the problem, is that North Korea now has the potential to bomb anyone they want, including more, like, because before, their last missile could only reach, like, Seattle in terms of the United States. This one could reach all the way to wherever it wanted.
Yeah, as someone who is from Alaska and is a lot closer to North Korea than a lot of the United States, that terrifies me.
I feel like, because at this point, North Korea knows that anything they do will just lead to mutual destruction. They will get a few missiles off, blow up a couple places, and then turn into a glass bowl. So, if they were to do anything, Nathan, because like they could have if they wanted to, they could have already, lobbed stuff at Japan, South Korea, Guam.
Right, but they're not as antagonizing them as much as the United States.
Right. So if
they're going to hit anywhere, they would want to hit us like square on.
They wouldn't hit Alaska either. They'd hit bigger.
I don't know, dude. Alaska's a very, very big like military base.
It's not that big at all. And
it's the closest that there is to fucking North Korea. It's closer than the Hawaii base.
Sure, that's relatively irrelevant, though, when we're literally just going to hit a button, send missiles at them that are based in Kansas, and say, have a good night.
Well,
from my point of view, from my point of view, it doesn't really matter where they can bomb to a degree, because it's more about how do we deal with this? How do we move ahead from here? What do we do about it, eh?
Well,
they're going to get more and more capability as time goes on, and it's a reality. And the reality is that Trump can't do anything about it. He's not. He can be the bully as much as he wants. His own advisors will not let him push the trigger to bomb North Korea. Even his own people realize that there's no good outcomes.
Yeah, and Secretary of State Rex Tillerson has already condemned the missile test. Secretary of Defense James Mad Dog Mattis has said that there's not a reason for concern. As Joe in the chat room said, we have an excellent missile defense system. also, the other thing is we will not be taking the initial action. Anything we do against North Korea would be retaliatory. Is that a word? Retaliatory?
Close enough.
Close enough, thanks. And so they still believe that there is a diplomatic solution to this, which, I mean, I really hope there is, because I don't want to see unnecessary loss of life when there could have been an alternative reached. And so it's just, they now have the potential. But realistically, and Joe says they can afford to make 2 of them probably, and so they're gonna, if they were to do it, they would put it where it can do the absolute most damage, because they know that they are not going to survive the backswing. Period, flat out, no questions asked. So, really,
I'd actually have to just retaliate or point out some other things. It's been pointed out to me in programs I've been watching that they are very well bunkered in.
Yeah.
It is actually impossible for America to take the head off the snake, as they say, or whatever the analogy is. It's actually an impossibility. They cannot take out the top people cleanly. It's absolutely, even with nuclear weapons. Mm-hmm. And they are so well dug in that there's no way that they're going to eliminate their even their ability to retaliate, even with nuclear weapons, unless they wipe everything out over the entire area, which of course then that would be a lot of nuclear weapons, and that would just annihilate everything around with nuclear waste. So it's not even really a possibility for them to do a nuclear strike, strategic nuclear strike, without major repercussions. They are set to take out half of South Korea as soon as there is indication they need to, and America cannot stop that capability. They know they cannot. They can cripple it a bit, but there's no way they're going to stop it. So there's going to be casualties in South Korea, guaranteed, no matter what happens, no matter who strikes first or what happens. So it's a matter of, we can't start anything, they can't start anything. Anybody does, it's annihilation for them, but it's a hell of a big price for all the rest of the world too.
I feel like North Korea is, like, when I see these things happening and how when people put sanctions on them, China prevents tourism on them, I feel like I get this feeling from them kind of like a rat backed into a corner. Like, they're getting more desperate, and maybe they don't feel like or don't realize that they do have another option. And so, I mean, they don't see a diplomatic answer, so they continue to try and sharpen their teeth.
Here's why they don't see another option, is because what happens to dictators and what we've done with dictators throughout the world, whenever we decide that they're not a use to the United States anymore, or most of the world, just like what the Syria, the last war here in Syria, that North Korea looks at what happened in Syria and they go, if he knows that we don't like him. And we put up with Syria for a long time, but as soon as we didn't like him because of how he was treating his people, which North Korea is much worse at, we did what moves we had to take him out. And he didn't have nuclear weapons. And we would have never gone in if he had nuclear weapons. North Korea knows this. They are hedging their bets by making sure that we cannot take them out. He's playing a game here that is, it makes perfect sense, really. It's not actually insane. And I mean, he acts like an idiot, and he acts like he's insane. But the game he's playing is not insane, and he's winning so far. And every other dictatorship has been taken out as soon as they were not useful to the United States. And so that's a huge scare for him.
So
and he's not going to back down at all. Here's what the big thinkers are thinking these days. We have to wake up to the fact of living with a nuclear capable North Korea. So that's what it's going to be. They're nuclear capable now. They're going to be more nuclear capable in the future. And we don't have a choice but to live with that. We weren't happy about Pakistan having the bomb. We thought for sure that the world was going to, all the Middle East was going to disappear when Pakistan got the bomb, but it didn't. The bomb has a way of not being used.
So what? And you said that dictators stick around until North America no longer has a use for them. What is his use right now?
Well, nothing. It's because he has a nuclear bomb. That's the only reason he's still. It's because he has enough ability to annihilate his neighbors That is the only reason he is still in existence today, and he knows it, and it's absolutely true. That's not a false statement.
Essentially got them hostage right now.
Yes, and he's got not just them, but South Korea, and you know, he's trying to get more hostages to cover his ass. But that doesn't mean he wants to kill any of his hostages. Well, he's killing his own people, but that doesn't mean he's going to go to that final degree. But he knows his only bet of staying in power is to always be pushing to that top edge. And if he ever lets off of that, he will lose. And it's absolutely true. That's not a lie. He will lose. We would have taken him out long ago if he would have backed off on his ability to hurt his neighbors. So it is a fact. It's a stalemate situation.
Matt Lauer fired from NBC News for sexual misconduct.
It was submitted by I Am Brown Man to Our World News.
Oh my God.
To Our News, I'm sorry.
I Am Brown Man. Okay.
I Am Brown Man.
So, Matt Lauer, one of the, or if not the most highly paid man in mainstream media, has been let go. And this is immediately following somebody filing a official complaint with a lawyer regarding sexual misconduct against him. They reviewed it, looked at it. NBC said, yeah, we agree with this, and we don't believe that this is the only case, even though this is the first one that's come to us with the evidence you are presenting. We no longer are going to work with him. You're fired.
That's understandable with everything that's going on right now.
It is nice to see how quickly NBC was like, oh, yeah, cool, you're right. Bye.
I saw this GIF earlier on Reddit, and it was like, wow, this has new meaning. And it was him doing an interview with the people from 50 Shades of Grey, and he was sitting in his chair dressed in BDSM, like a BDSM outfit.
That does have new meaning.
Yeah.
Yeah, none of this surprises me, guys. We're going to hear a lot more about this stuff.
It's just good to, one, keep it in front of people because it is a continuous thing that we need to solve, and it's good to see such immediate results from it.
Yeah. Yes. I hope it spreads. I hope it spreads beyond just women. Here in Canada, our biggest problem is our Native population and our relationship with them. And right now we're going through a reconciliation thing that's going on right now. And the sexual assaults that these people went through, I don't think people believe them.
Yeah, it's similar in Alaska.
Yeah. So, you know, it'll be nice when people start believing victims much, much easier, all victims. And I think we're getting there. It's getting better.
I guess we'll just wait and see. We will keep our eyes and ears out.
3.
Trump account retweets anti-Muslim videos.
This is submitted by Hamzy786 to Our World News.
So, Donald Trump's personal account retweeted 3 inflammatory videos from a British far-right group called Britain First. And, oh, God, one of the videos was outright fake. One of them was from the Egyptian coup, and the other one was basically like not a Muslim assault video. It showed a dude punching another dude, and it was like, look at this Muslim attacking somebody. Dude wasn't Muslim at all in any way. So one, none of the videos actually had anything to do with that whatsoever, and 2, like, it just looks so bad when the president is tweeting out, regardless of whether it was real or not, just the fact that they're tweeting out racial hate.
Yeah, that is pretty bad looking. That's a little more than just egg on their face.
Do you know how bad it is when the people that are, like, that some have deemed insane, like InfoWars, are being like, yeah, maybe you shouldn't have done that. When InfoWars is telling you that you shouldn't have done that, maybe you shouldn't do that.
At least his tweets didn't turn the frogs gay.
At least they didn't turn the frog. Damn it, Obama! You turned the frogs gay. Jesus. Yeah.
I saw this video on YouTube. Or not on YouTube, it was on Facebook, and it was a video made by InfoWars to try and explain what Alex meant by saying that the frogs were turning gay.
I actually know what he's actually talking about.
Yeah, it's the chemicals that are put in. Well, it was chemicals that seeped into the water that turned their testicles into ovaries, essentially.
Yeah, it's biphenyl A.
Yeah, but it's not quite turning them gay per se as it is making them transsexual.
Well, what it is actually is a synthetic form of testosterone. Not testosterone. What is it women have?
Estrogen.
Estrogen, yes. It's actually a form of estrogen, a man-made form of estrogen. And at one time, it was actually used as an estrogen supplement for women. So right now, it's a major product that we put into plastics to make them hard. And they've actually switched it to another type. It's still in the same category, though, and a lot of environmentalists still feel it probably has the same effects. But the problem is, as these things break down in the environment, it's like we're seeding estrogen all across the land. And so estrogen, obviously, is going to be a bit of an opposite to, it's going to cut down on the testosterone levels, and therefore during birth, the high levels of estrogen makes them turn female, or halfway in between. It's a mix between, it's the estrogen and the testosterone fighting it out, and this is the result. So it is a problem. There's no doubt.
Well, it is. Yeah, he absolutely does.
Yes.
If he had a better way of explaining it than they're turning the freaking frogs gay.
Well,
yes.
In regards to these tweets, though, they were originally set out by Jada Franson, who is the deputy leader of Britain First, which is an extremely far-right group out of Britain. And she herself has actually been convicted of hate crimes in the past. And so no one...
That makes you look so much better,
Yeah, well, and when asked about... Because Donald Trump hasn't said anything about it, but they were able to ask Donald Trump's press secretary, Sarah Huckabee Sanders. And when asked about it, she said that she wasn't concerned about the videos because whether the video is real, the threat is real.
Yeah, well, that actually cuts right down to the bone of it. Trump supporters and all these people out there, they're looking for a narrative whatever fits their narrative, and they don't really even care if it's true. If it sounds close enough, they want to spread that rumor, and
it's that echo chamber effect.
Yes, and they want it. They love the echo chamber that they're creating. So they enjoy this a great deal, and things like what Trump just did, retweeting those videos, it's not going to affect his base in any way. Obviously, like nothing else he does seems to affect him.
Yeah.
But
seeing as how he was on trial for a couple things and he was still elected president.
Yes. Now, what it comes down to though is immigration, and that is actually what caused Brexit, and to a great deal, that's what got Trump into power. And I'm all for immigration, so don't get me wrong on this. But if your society is not ready for immigration, and your government tries to push immigration when your society is not ready for it, and the best you can do is try to educate your society, try not to feed them bullshit, and hope that they will accept, to a certain degree, and which, by the way, we don't measure this stuff, and I'll get into that on my thing again, but this is the problem. We don't measure this stuff, so we don't know exactly how people feel about immigrants. There's a bunch of loud groups on one side saying we want them. There's a bunch of loud people on the other side saying we don't, but we don't actually know if we were to find the average of what everybody wants and find out exactly how many immigrants we can have that's not going to upset everybody, right? This we don't bother to do that. And instead, the people on the left just say, well, we don't want to touch that subject. And that's why they did Brexit. They made Brexit up because they didn't want to touch the immigration issue. So they said, either it's all of the deal, everything we do with Europe, or nothing. And they did that because they didn't want to talk about immigration. And they're avoiding that conversation. It screwed Britain right up. They're so screwed up right now, it's unbelievable. I can't believe the mess they made. But that mess can be directly attributed to the fact that the Liberals did not want to touch on immigration, and the Conservatives did. And instead of having the conversation, they said, all or nothing. Let's see you do that. And they said, oh, yeah? Fuck you, we will. That's what they did.
EA's Day of Reckoning is here after Star Wars game uproar. $3 billion in stock value wiped out.
It was submitted by Falcon Vox to our news. It's completely understandable. Fucking EA is dicks. The only company that could possibly be worse is like Ubisoft.
Well, Ubisoft's been doing all right recently, aside from a couple relatively minor things. But they had 60% loss in sales of what they were expecting to have from Battlefront 2. And as such, the market responded because EA stock went down a little bit when there was the initial uproar that went across the internet. And EA was like, no, it's fine. The internet's just loud. Don't worry. It'll still sell. It didn't sell. It sold horribly. For most stores, it was the only game still left on the shelf and in full stock after Black Friday. Their stock then proceeded to plummet, losing a total of $3.1 billion in their company value. And now EA gets to try and figure out what to do about it.
Ooh.
Isn't there a giant petition trying to get them to forfeit their rights to making the games?
That's irrelevant, because instead now what it's looking like is because EA was like, all right, we can make tons of money on microtransactions. We made $800 million in pure profit last year in microtransactions on these two games. We made so much money. We could make even more money putting microtransactions in Battlefront, in Star Wars. You know how much money we'll make? We'll make so much money. And then everyone went, EA, fuck off. And they went, wait, what? Yeah, eat your own ass. Seriously, go away. And
because they're just money-hungry dickheads.
Yeah, they are. But the problem is now is that the investors went, shit, this won't make money anymore. We're not going to invest in you anymore. And so what that will mean is that they will have to find a new solution, essentially, to how microtransactions are going to be handled. Already,
yeah, the thing is how a lot of places are trying to ban it already.
Well, and Wall Street itself has said the gaming industry might want to address this before Congress does. Because if you get regulated, investors are going to be severely disinterested. So if you regulate yourselves and put your own rules into place first, that can save you a lot of trouble in the long run. But if you guys want to keep trying, don't worry. You're upsetting enough people and enough now important people that you're going to no longer have the option to make this sort of monetization.
I mean, that's understandable. I feel like they really do need to step up and really stop it.
Did you see what EA's response was, by the way?
No.
So one of the questions asked was like, EA, so many games now have loot boxes in them, have microtransactions in them, but they're always, for the most part, focused on cosmetics. You know, I want my gun to look a different color. I want my sword to be a different looking sword, but it still does the same thing. I want my character to be dressed up like, you know, as like a I don't even know. I want them to have future tech on instead of their metal armor. Why didn't you go that direction? And EA's response was that they didn't want to hurt Star Wars canon. That, yes, while it may have been an option to put a cosmetic option in for you to buy, to have Darth Vader wearing white armor or even pink armor instead of the traditional black, they felt that that would have hurt Star Wars canon too much. And
that's fucking stupid.
Well, and immediately everyone went, so it's cool for Darth Maul to be fighting against Rey, even though he died literally before she was born? How's that canon?
Yeah, that's not canon whatsoever. The integrity of the game. Like, when you are playing Battlefield or Battlefront, you're not in it for the game being 100% accurate to canon. You're in it to fucking kill a bunch of people as a goddamn super awesome character you remember seeing in the movies.
And you know what? You want to see Boba Fett go up against Kylo Ren, also going up against Yoda. That's what you want to see. You're like, yes, power fantasy,
except
fantasy.
Yoda would definitely. Actually, no, I don't know if Boba Fett would stand a chance against Yoda. On one hand, Yoda's like a super strong Jedi Master who's been around for over 900 years. But on the other hand, Boba Fett was is the clone of goddamn Jango Fett. Jango Fett was goddamn Mandalore for a long ass time, especially during the Mandalorian Wars with against Jedi. Like, he knows how to fucking kill Jedi. The Mandalorian's like.
Either way, it's about those power fantasies playing out. Like,
yeah, no, definitely.
However, if Yoda is instead wearing like, I don't know, like some cool like ninja outfit and his lightsaber is yellow instead of green, sure, I'm down.
I would so buy loot boxes if it was just cosmetics.
Right? People do. Like, and that's the thing. People are like, I'll give you money to make my stuff look different because anything that says you paid for our game, give us more money if you want to have a chance at actually winning anything in our game. They have an actual loot box that straight up says when you use it, you instantly win a game of multiplayer. Literally pay to win. Not even pay to have a better chance at winning. Pay to fucking win.
That's some bullshit.
Yeah.
Some absolute bullshit.
Yep.
I'm always amazed how much you guys spend on games. Like my kids, everybody. It amazes me.
It's hobbies.
I mean, we like our video games.
It's just hobbies.
I never understood it.
Scientists call for ban on glitter. Say it's a global hazard.
This is submitted by Lucine Page to Our World News.
Glitter's fucking killing the frogs, Nathan.
Is the glitter turning the frogs gay?
No, it's just killing them, and because it's microplastic, it is super tiny. A piece of glitter is smaller than 5 millimeters, which is what it takes to be considered a microplastic, and it is immensely difficult to clean up microplastic. It's why several states...
If anyone's ever used glitter at all, they will acknowledge that how immensely difficult it is to clean that shit up.
Well, and like the micro beads in a lot of face washes and stuff, those are banned in a lot of countries and in 4 different states across the United States because like they get into filters, they damage equipment because it's so small and it's plastic. And like if glitter gets dumped in the ocean, how you gonna clean it up? It's glitter. You can't get a net. Like,
it is not fantastic.
And because it's a small little piece of sparkly plastic, you know what thinks that's food? Literally every single fish in the ocean.
Oh yeah, you're right.
And so
it's a really big problem, you guys. That stuff makes its way to the ocean in no time too, because it floats. Unlike other stuff that would make its way to the bottom of the riverbed and what have you, it makes its way right down into the water system and all the way to where it's flowing, and it's in no time, eh? So yeah, it's bad.
And also, like glitter can be carried on the wind, like because it's so small and so light.
Yeah, that's kind of. I'm all for banning glitter because glitter's fucking. It's the worst.
You don't
as a former goddamn child development specialist, essentially daycare guy. Glitter is the fucking worst.
Nathan, are you ever gonna do a glitter beard?
No, absolutely not.
Oh, come on.
Glitter beard is the fucking worst.
However,
I thought about those ornaments instead.
Yeah.
Ornaments are different, I guess.
You guess?
Christmas beard.
Yeah. Not glitter though. Fuck glitter.
Gotta take pictures for Instagram, bro.
No, I'm gonna turn my Instagram into an Instagram where it's just pictures of my cat.
Do it.
I'm gonna put glitter on him. Because cats can grow beards all over.
In any case...
Well, I didn't vote for you!
Brian, tell us about this app that you are working on.
Okay, well, as we were talking about petitions earlier, obviously the problem with the petitions is that they don't seem to do anything. And let's just imagine, though, that you did a petition on anything, and you actually got numbers like a quarter of the population, half the population on this thing. Do you think that, as you guys were saying before, it doesn't seem to lead to any changes, doesn't seem to lead to any legislation. And generally, petitions don't. Other campaigns have, though. Twitter has actually been shown to lead to changes in policies because of the pressure that Twitter is able to put on politicians. Now, I've been monitoring this for 5 years now. When I first started into this, it was very difficult to tell which computer or internet entity was going to kind of master the area of politics. And over these years, it's obviously become Twitter at this point. But now Facebook is actually taking a turn, and they're actually going to direct themselves more into politics. I don't know if you heard about that. Mark Zuckerberg made an announcement some time ago that he's going to transform Facebook into a force for democracy.
Well, I mean,
Now,
there's also the rumor that he's going to
Now,
run
also-
for president.
I'll send you a link. In any case, so they may become the bigger player here pretty soon. But public pressure does lead to change in policies. And these are actually minute pressures. A Twitter campaign is only working with maybe 10% of the population, if that. And then there's maybe 10% of the Twitter users that are involved in this Twitter campaign, and yet they're still able to actually get something done. It's not much, but it's able to make some pressure.
Sure.
But obviously, though, if we could do a campaign on Twitter or a petition, and we were getting large numbers like 500 million or half a billion people or what have you, right? On certain things, we could. If you could look at a subject like gun control,
Sure.
Bump stocks lately, everybody was willing to take out bump stocks. It's only because of politics that nobody did, right? Also, as far as criminal checks for people with guns, we know that would pass. If there was a referendum right now in the United States, do you think that would pass? Eliminating bump stocks and proper checks on people's mental health before they can buy a gun? Do you think that would actually pass? I think it would.
Eliminating the check on mental health or instituting one?
They already have some in some states, but just a better system.
I would like to believe that it would pass, but honestly, with the state of America, I don't know.
Didn't we have one that got taken out?
I'm talking about, though, a referendum, which you guys won't do nationwide. You guys don't do referendums in America. You do them on the state level, but you won't do them on the federal level. And I understand why. I'll talk about that in a minute. But anyway, something like that is obvious. So if you had now a way to have a petition or Twitter, let's say everybody had a Twitter account.
Sure.
Every single person out there had a Twitter account. If there was a campaign to get rid of bump stocks and you had half your population or more, if everybody already had the Twitter account and they knew how to use it, it would be very easy to get those high numbers of people to do it. All of a sudden it would be trending on Reddit and trending on the news, and people are going, we're up to so high on this. If we could just get some more, we'll actually get bump stocks out of here, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then with a little bit of drive like that, I'm sure you could get over half of your population. If they already knew how to use Twitter, it was a daily thing that they're using already, they would easily just a quick little tweet and boom, they've done it.
Their button, yeah.
Yeah, if it's that easy, you will get participation, first of all. And if everybody's already in the system, right?
Yeah, that makes absolute sense, yeah.
Yeah, so you guys think that, okay, my next question here, because I want to see what your frame of mind is. Do you guys believe if the people of the world had more power, do you think they should be given that power? And I'm asking this because a lot of people don't think so. And a lot of people on the left, in fact, most on the left, don't think the population is smart enough to be trusted with decisions at any level. And, let alone things like abortion or whatever it might be, right? They're worried. Or immigration. There's a prime example. Liberals are scared to talk about the subject. They don't even want to bring it up in a public conversation. Now, does it scare you guys if the public had more power? That's the big question here. What do you think?
No, I don't have a problem with it.
I guess it depends. I mean, I can understand the... No, I guess on second thought, I wouldn't have too big of a problem with it because it's the voice of the people.
Well, that's what I think. From my point of view, I don't trust any individual. To run this world. I'm not talking about just my country or my city. I'm talking about the world, because today we have worldwide problems, and they need to be dealt with on a worldwide basis. Everybody has to be involved in these to solve these problems. Otherwise, it's just not going to go away. Right. And so I don't feel I have a choice, because I don't trust anybody with these problems. I don't trust any individual. I don't trust any government, and I don't trust any group. The only people I trust, well, I don't trust all the people out in the world to make the right decision either, but I trust them more than I trust any one group or any one person, because at least I get my fair share of say. And in all these other ways, I don't get any say. So I'd at least like to have my little bit of say and let everybody else have theirs, rather than giving all my say to one group or one person.
To me, is that the idea behind the app?
Well, that's the driving force behind it, really. But so the simplicity of this, it's actually extremely simple. It is nothing more than a search engine. When I say a search engine, I'm talking about a search engine just like Google, right? And it has to be very top of the line, just like Google. Google has changed our world. And it gives us now capability to search massive amount of data. And we don't need to go through any kind of
encyclopedia menu or anything like that.
Yeah. So this means that all we need to do is create a massive. Sorry, guys, just hold on a second there.
That's all right.
Yeah, you're all good.
Dropped my phone there. You still there?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, right on. Sorry. Anyway, all we need is a massive data bank to store opinions, and everybody puts in their opinions. Now, we're working with a system here, unlike a petition or a vote or a referendum. The big problem there is that we can't put our ideas out in that kind of system. We can only answer yes or no to questions. That's a problem. We need ideas to be able to come up from everybody. The bigger the pool that ideas are coming from, the better chance that we can solve some of these problems, small problems and big problems. So the larger the group of people you're working with to come up with solutions, the better solutions you're going to get. You guys agree with that one, right?
Yeah.
Throw
enough heads at it, you know.
My only concern on something like this is that it is very blanket, and because you can make a comparison of essentially what this is. This puts things to a popular vote. It puts things to a vote of the majority of a vote on what the majority of the population feels. And the reason that we don't have that in many cases is because the things that benefit people in the major cities, we'll just go with the major cities in California, Los Angeles, San Diego, Sacramento, etc. The things that benefit them might be extremely detrimental to the people that live in rural areas outside of those major cities.
Yeah, it was tyranny of the majority, and I would like to, I'll quickly touch on that subject. When right now in our political system, we have things in place to help to make sure that tyranny and majority does not, or I can't remember, tyranny and majority, yeah. Anyway, to make sure that it doesn't get out of hand. Now, when it comes to working with minorities, they are always at a disadvantage, and my plan is not going to make it. I think it's going to make it better for minorities. But my point I want to come to here is society recognizes these issues that you're bringing up, and they have put things in place up until now to try and even out the playing field. Now, just because I come up with a new system of measuring opinion does not mean that sentiment from the people, because these systems that they put into place are put in by people. They weren't put there by God or somebody else. They were put in by people, the founding fathers or whoever you might want to look at. But the fact of the matter is, we have upheld this belief that we need to worry about our minorities, right? We've upheld that belief because we know it's a problem, us as a society. And so to think that us as a society, all of a sudden, because we get a more direct democracy, or we're going to forget about our minorities, I think that's just wrong thinking. Why would society all of a sudden decide that they don't want to worry about their minorities anymore?
Because people are selfish and only care about themselves.
Then why do we do it now?
Do what now?
We put things in place to make sure that we take care of our minorities. Why do we do it now?
Because otherwise people start killing each other and go to jail.
Exactly. So why would that change once we change the governmental system?
But what you're suggesting
those incentives you just said, because people go crazy if you don't treat minorities right, then you get uprising and you get all the rest of this. That doesn't change because we change the governmental system. We as a society, we make provisions to take care of our minorities. We do it now, and it's the people that put that into place.
But what you're
the very same people you're scared of are the same people that put that into place.
But what you're suggesting
right?
doesn't change any system. All it does is allow people to express opinion, which they can already do via available facets.
Yeah. But my point is, just like petitions, yes, they can express their opinions in petitions, but they're a pain in the ass and nobody uses them. Once again, like the Twitter example I was talking about, if it was so easy, then and it was a system you're used to using and you use every day, then it is more likely you will use a system that will be able to, express your opinion more. This is why it's going to be better.
Yeah, Facebook is so popular because people can get on there and blast their opinion.
Yeah. Yes. And the difference here is, by the way, your opinion will stay in our system forever. So let's say you put something on an opinion on Reddit right now, and you hope that it trends, right? And you hope that a whole bunch of people look at this opinion and it makes some difference maybe to some degree, but it's only going to trend for so long and then it disappears. And if it doesn't, your timing wasn't just right. Maybe it could have went much further if you put it out at just the right time. Maybe it just needed more time to be on the front page or what have you to really get somewhere. My point is, though, when you put an opinion into our system, it will stay there forever. It will be there forever and ever and ever. So if somebody else has that same thought in the future, they're reenacting your vision.
Well, what if you change your opinion?
And if you change your opinion, you can. Yeah, that's opinions are a series of letters or numerals or whatever, and we search by that. That's how Google searches, right?
Yes.
Yes. So if you change any letter, spacing, anything, it becomes a whole new opinion. And there's no reason we can't store both of those.
So basically the only difference between like what you're suggesting, like, because for instance, like you could take an opinion and equate that to like a Facebook group or like a subreddit, for instance. The difference here is a matter of convenience and ease.
Yes, convenience, ease,
and understanding.
And that it's meant to create change. That's its purpose, right? And it stays there forever. And I don't know how else I can say it's different. But the other thing is the other big difference to all these other things, all these other forms of ways of putting up your opinions, is that we're totally searched by a Google-style search engine. So in other words, right now, if you wanted to go sign a petition, you would have to go to that website. You would have to go through a menu to find the category, and then find that petition in that under that category. So another menu. And then you get there, and then you finally sign your petition, right? And then there might be other options, so you got to look around at other options. So it's a long pain in the ass event. I'm not going to do it. You guys probably aren't going to do it. I come from this from a point of view of I'm an average guy. I'm not even very computer literate, but I know how to Google. This is kind of the point here. The system I'm trying to create is so intuitive. It's just Google.
It's just very user-friendly.
So you just be able to Google like gun control, and you'd get all the opinions on gun control?
Yes. If you just, whatever you wanted to do, yes. You go, I want to get rid of bump stocks. You type that in, Google finds that opinion. If it's not there already, you just made it. And now it stays in there.
And so do you have a prospective time frame for this app?
Okay, well, when it comes to why I haven't built this thing yet, do you guys know the story of Reddit? How it started?
No.
Okay, well, Alexis and his other partner, which I don't remember his name there, they came up with the idea. Then they went searching for money. And they never built a beta. They never built any prototypes.
Sure.
And the reason for that is because Reddit would have not tested well in any kind of beta form, because the driving force of Reddit is everybody there.
Sure.
So if you only have 50 people on the system, it's not going to be interactive. It's not going to be fun. So Reddit, when it started, they went right to full-scale use right off the bat. They didn't do a beta test or anything like that because it was impossible to test. Secondly, they went worldwide right off the bat, and they also went all subject matter right off the bat. They didn't narrow themselves to, only photos and funny and whatever. There was no restriction on categories. No restriction on how many people, who could access it. Because if there were any restrictions, they would have never been interesting and nobody would have come. Right?
Sure.
That's how Reddit made it. Now, it still was a struggle, and I expect to be a bit of a struggle too. But that's what made Reddit is it's covering everything. It has something for everybody. Now, we have to do exactly the same thing. So I've identified what I call the opinion market. The opinion market is already there. Things like Yelp, Rate My Teacher, Rate My Doctor, all these things are opinions.
Google reviews.
Google reviews, yes. All your reviews of television shows, the whole system that they use to rate television shows, whatever I can remember now. Nielsen
Rotten
ratings.
Tomatoes.
All that stuff is opinions.
Sure.
Now, I want to monopolize that. I want to corner the market on all opinions on everything in the world. So once we get this going, we're going to take out Yelp. We're going to take out all these, Rate My Teacher, all the rest of that, and everybody will put it in this location. So any hotel you stay at, our Airbnb or whatever, this is where you do your complaining. This is where you rate it. This is where you rate everything in your life, right? You take an Uber and you don't like the driver. This is where you put it, right? Mm-hmm. This now is an app that everybody will be using for these other reasons, and there's more than that. But these are existing opinion markets that we have at the moment.
So
this is going.
Will it just reference them then into one cohesive place?
Look at it as it's a copy of the internet. It's a whole nother internet, its own search engine, but it links to everything that's on the internet.
Sure.
Right? So it's like a whole nother internet where you just Google search and it searches for all these opinions, and it finds you stayed at the Marriott Vancouver or whatever, you say that, and it gives you everybody's opinions on it. It's going to give you the highest rated opinions. So you're going to know, it's going to give you all the opinions. So there's going to be some shitty ones. There's going to be some ones with crazy people, but they're not going to be upvoted. The ones that are upvoted, they're the ones that are trending up, and they're the first ones you're going to see. You can go all the way through them all if you want, but you probably only really care to see what most people are saying. So you know exactly what most people are saying. Okay. This also works for everything that's on the internet. So InfoWars comes out with an article about something and it's ridiculous. First of all, somebody might just put out an opinion right on InfoWars, and all of us can vote it up and saying that InfoWars is not reliable news, right? So that anybody goes to InfoWars, they can click on a link and it shows them exactly what the world thinks of InfoWars. Okay. Every single article could be done the same way as well. And we can rate every article. We can tell them what the people think of it. And it gives you, this does not make information right or wrong, but it tells us what the public opinion is of it. And that's information we don't have right now.
So since it's not available right now and we don't have a prospective time frame on it, where can people go to keep up on if they're interested, where can people go to try and keep up with its progress?
Well, you can join my email if you Google Your Opinion, and opinion spelled with a U. If you Google that, you'll find my webpage, and you can sign up for a monthly. Well, not monthly. I'm updating people as I get new information. Right now, I'm actually in a contest for $5 million in funding. I personally think I've got a pretty good chance for it, but we'll have to see what happens. Yeah, well, it's a big contest, and there's a lot of people in it. But I really think that there's certain reasons why I believe I've been in this for 5 years. I've been watching everything everybody else is doing. I am the only system out here that is looking at going outside of politics. So when we're talking about opinions obviously work in politics, right? But they work on everything else in your life. Everybody else, like I said, Uber and all the rest of this, you have opinions on everything, right? So we build this system that people will use for other reasons, and they will also use it for politics. So it gives them a reason to be in there every day, to be a continuous user and know how to use it, which they'll know how to use anyway because it's just a Google search engine.
Sure.
You should add a feature, right? This is just spitballing, where it's like it brings up a random opinion and you can swipe left or right with agree or disagree.
Yes. I imagine the front page will be stuff that's trending. There'll be all the new stuff people are talking about, stuff you're seeing on the news. Every time there's something on the news, you're probably going to see that stuff rotating on your front page. and everybody's going to have links. As soon as you see an article on the news, it's going to tell you, you find it here, and it's going to give you a link or what have you. You see it on Reddit, it's going to give you a link, and you can go vote. So there's not even any searching to do. If you find something, you've made up your mind, you just click on that link, and boom, you vote, you're done. Okay? Now, also, I want to touch on the voting for a minute. We're going to allow you to split your vote infinitely. And this means that you can set priorities. And this allows for finding consensus. Consensus is something we're not getting these days, and that's the goal of any system, is to find consensus among the people. So, in any case, to find consensus, you need to be able to be flexible. So, let's say you decide that on gun control, your main goal is eliminate guns entirely, right? So that's your opinion, let's say, but they're offering to get rid of bump stocks, right? And only that, not get rid of all guns. Well, you might want to split your vote and say, this is what I want the most. I want to get rid of guns 100%. That's my goal. But I'm also willing to put part of my vote on getting rid of on bump stocks alone. Sure, if that's the best I can do, I'm going to put part of my vote there. So that now when the guy's analyzing, when people are looking at that vote, they can say, well, 95% are willing to accept this. Only 30 of them are really happy with it, right? This is all vital information and allows us to move forward. We don't have this information now. So anyway, we need to know where people's priorities are. Not just the priorities on the things you're voting on, but all together. All the subjects that you voted on, you're going to have a top priority.
Sure.
The number one thing in your mind you want taken care of for the government to do, right? And you're going to change that as things are trending. You're going to find out maybe gun control is not a big deal at the moment, but abortion rates are, or something like that, right? So you're more interested in that. So you have abortion as your highest rated thing. But all of a sudden, guns are trending, and there's a really good chance things are going to happen with guns if everybody gets on board. You might put that as your top priority for the next month.
Sure.
And then I'll just pull in all of that stuff.
Well,
go
ahead.
Yes. So this anyway allows you to find compromise, and allows you to come to the best solutions. Now, I just want to touch on this finding the best consensus.
We're actually 30 minutes over our show time, so we need to get ready to go. So everybody, if that is something that you are interested in, please be sure to search Your Opinion. And if you are interested in supporting this show, please go to patreon.com/dailyinternet. You can find us also on many forms of media, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, all of which are at iReaditcast, and can download the show to take with you at iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play, as well as anywhere else that podcasts are found. Submit your stories to our subreddit, which is our iReaditcast, or send us an email, which is feedback.ireadit@gmail.com. Everybody, that has been your 391st dose of the Internet. I am Michael Schwahn.
I'm Nathan Wood.
I'm Brian Shalabaugh.
And please remember, everybody,
don't get eliminated!
Have a good day, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.